Oh,
Hello everybody, my name is Vijay, and for this video we're going to be going over uh, on how to start a part file, how to start a sketch, and the basic shapes that you're going to be working with in Autodesk Inventor 2021. So when you boot up the application, it'll look something like this. If you click part or assembly here, those are the main two you're going to be using for FTC, but any of these will bring you to um, the respective label. But what I usually do is press new in the top left, and then you get a bunch of other options as well. So since we're making a part today, I'm going to select standard.ipt. You can use this if you're working with sheet metal parts. But we're not doing that at the moment, so I'm just going to press create, wait for it to load. And then you'll be meted with a blank screen with all of your 3D features up here. So what you first want to do to get some shapes up is press start 2D sketch here, and you can just click it, or in the top left, or you can also press S, and that will also pull up a sketch. So usually I do the XY plane. It doesn't really matter as long as you use the respective planes if you're working in 3D. And then you'll notice in the sketch you'll have a finished sketch which will go back to the 3D view, and you have all of your constraints and like features, and here are the basic shapes that you have. So let's start out with the line. It's a line segment as you would expect, and then you can see that you can set the length and the angle respectively by pressing tab between them. And Inventor is also standard in inches, just as an FYI. And then underline, you can also have some other interesting stuff, such as splines. So you can do a whole bunch of crazy stuff here with splines, and if you want to make some like free-form curves. And then you can also define it by equations. The next shape is a circle, and of course for a circle you just define the midpoint and then you spread out, and then the dimension shown here is in inches. And then you can also define a circle by it being tangent to three things. So for example, if we go back to line, let's make 3 lines here. And let's make a circle that is tangent to all 3 of these lines. You could also make a circle that has a known radius or diameter and tangent to 2 lines as well. That is mathematically possible, giving you one unique circle. But if you don't have a known radius, you can use 3 lines that are tangent. And then you can also make an ellipse, which is basically a circle, but the horizontal and vertical radii are different. You can define the horizontal radius and the vertical radius. Next up is the arc. So arcs are pretty important, as they can basically be like a section of a circle or freeform as well. So for a regular arc, you want to define one endpoint of the arc and the other, and then you can define a radius, which will of course determine how curved the arc is. And then you can also do an arc that is tangent to a straight edge. So click this line. As you can see, it's going to be tangent. Wait, let me try that again. So it's pretty neat. And then you also have a center point arc. So if you define any center point, you can create a angle that sweeps out. So this is very useful for creating partial circles, or if you don't want the full 360 degrees of circle, and you know what radius you want it at as well. The next one here is a rectangle, and there are many ways to create this rectangle, but the common way is just 2 points. You can just drag it, and then you also have your 2 dimensions for length and height. And another common thing is a slot, which is you don't really need to use this tool, but it is very helpful. It's essentially 2 semicircles with lines connecting their endpoints. And you also have a curved version of this here with a center point. And you can define all the dimensions as you go. And then lastly, you have a very useful tool, the Polygon Tool. So with this tool, you can make shapes that are polygons, essentially, by either one of its vertices or the midpoint of one of its sides. So and this number decides how many sides the polygon will have. So I'll put 5 here, which is a pentagon, and I'll say inscribed, and I believe this is circumscribed. Yep, that makes sense. Because when you click on a point, that'll define it as the center of that polygon. And then, as you can see, I'm controlling one of the vertices of the pentagon. So essentially, if I was to draw a circle, some arbitrary circle, and I chose inscribed, and I went all the way down to the circle, as you can see that the pentagon is inscribed within that circle. But if I chose circumscribed, and oops, that didn't work. I circumscribed and I went all the way out, you'll see that the pentagon is now circumscribed around the circle. You can also create sketches on 3D faces. So you'll learn to do this in a later video, but you can extrude a closed object into a solid object, and then you can hit start 2D sketch or press S and start a sketch on any flat surface here or there. So I can just do this, and then you get a sketch here in which you can define objects. So I hope this video was helpful. Please comment below if you have any questions or comments, and thank you for watching.